like to call the meeting to order for March 22nd, 2017 of the Historic Preservation Commission of the City of Las Vegas. Items listed on the agenda may be taken out of the order presented. Two or more agenda items for consideration may be combined, and any item on the agenda may be removed or related discussion may be delayed at any time. Backup material for this agenda will be obtained from Luann Holmes. I don't remember hearing this at City Clerk, at the City Clerk's office at this address, second floor, or on the city's website. Do you call the roll now?
Yes.
Okay.
Chair Stodel. Excuse. Vice Chair White.
Here.
Commissioner Bellis. Excuse. Commissioner Beck.
Present.
Commissioner Hotchkiss.
On the phone.
Commissioner Levine.
Here.
Commissioner McMillan Arnold. Excused. Commissioner Clank.
Here.
Commissioner Surface.
Here.
And Commissioner Cosgrove. Here. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Have we complied with the open meeting law?
Yes, we have.
Okay. Public comment during this session of the, this portion of the agenda may be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, please come to the microphone and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. The public is also welcome to make any comment as each item is being heard by the board. Do we have any public comment now? Thank you. So we're ready to start with the first item. It is item 5, discussion and possible action regarding construction of an exterior vestibule at the eastern elevation. Am I wrong?
Item 4. I'm sorry, approval of
Read the
minutes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Item 4, the minutes for the last meeting.
I move to approve. Second.
Thank you so much. It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you so much. And now we go to item 5, HPC 69412, discussion for possible action regarding construction of an exterior vestibule at the eastern elevation of the National Museum of Organized Crime and Law Enforcement, located at 300 Stewart Avenue. Courtney?
The Mob Museum has submitted an application for a certificate of appropriateness to construct an exterior vestibule on the east elevation of the former U.S. Post Office and Courthouse building. The vestibule would be at the base of the basement stairs within an existing below-grade light well. Construction would involve reconstruction of an existing retaining wall, removal and reinstallation of the historic guardrail on the existing retaining wall, and limited reconfiguration of the basement portion of the east elevation. An existing contemporary door would be relocated and an historic window would move to the door location. Historic materials would be salvaged and reused to the extent feasible. The museum is listed on the city and state registers of historic places and on the National Register of Historic Places at the national level of significance. And Robert Chattel is here to provide us with an overview of the project.
Thank you, Courtney. I'm Robert Chattel. I'm the Historic Preservation Consultant for the Mob Museum. With me today are also Jonathan Ullman, the Executive Director of the museum, and John Lansdale from LGA Architects, or the project architects. On December 14th, 2016, the HPC approved some work to the contemporary loading dock on the north elevation. Thank you very much. And we presented a discussion item on some additional improvements. We've now refined the proposal and reduced it substantially. And the item before you is an action item. We hope to approve a certificate of appropriateness for a small exterior addition on the east elevation. It's a vestibule to serve some new exhibit space in the basement. So the area, and it's a little hard to see in here, but the area we're talking about is substantially below grade. It's partially above grade on the east elevation. It's in an existing light well. again on the east elevation. So that's the area of discussion shown in purple. There are other interior changes at the basement level. The administrative offices for the museum are generally moving off-site, and that office area in the basement is an expansion of the exhibit area. So in 2012, we completed the major work on the Mott Museum. Again, it opened in February of 2012. We added a new staircase to this light well and provided a new door, which served the office area. So we already had some intervention in this area, if you will. We removed part of the retaining wall and reconstructed it. We removed and reset part of the handrail. In the current proposed work, we propose to relocate this door one bay to the south and move the historic window to the door location and create the vestibule between these two beams. This is probably the best view of it. So that northernmost beam would be removed as part of this work because the head height doesn't allow for it to remain. So again, these are some pictures. You'll see that there'll be an enclosure here. That's the top of that existing door. When I said principally below grade but partially above, we're proposing to add a vestibule in this bay, which is an enclosed space. So part of the work will be the reconstruction of the retaining wall. It's shown here about 15 feet in length, north-south along the east elevation of that light well, and construction of steel stud walls that will have metal cladding to frame in that vestibule via interior space. So it's a minor addition, if you will, to the historic buildings. It's treated like an addition, and it would have a roof. So again, what you would see from the street, if you will, or the driveway if you're walking up the driveway to the north portion of the site parking area, we're going to remove and reset a portion of the existing handrail. And at your last meeting, one of the requests was that we were proposing a new handrail and a complicated deck, which is now no longer part of the proposal. But the request was that we be really true to the original materials. And in this case, we're hoping to work closely with the building department to allow us to put back this non-code compliant handrail. But all we're doing is removing it, building a new retaining wall because we have to support the wall in a structurally sound way and remove that beam. And then we're going to reset the historic rail. So we're simply going to carefully salvage it and reinstall it. And this is showing the work complete. It wouldn't be purple in color.
So that's just an entry. That's just an entryway, like from down the steps. That's an entryway to get into that
Exactly.
space. Okay.
Exactly. So as part of this work, this is a demo drawing. The dash lines generally being demolished. So the beam would be removed. Fairly significant portion of the limestone cladding at this level will be removed. Our hope is that we can limit the removal of that material, hopefully to the area around the beam. We'll see about that. So we're showing you worst case that we can remove and reset those limestone blocks. We previously removed and reset the limestone in this zone, and we've used salvaged material and some new material. So we're expecting to reuse as much of that limestone as possible, and if we need more, it will closely match. It's Indiana limestone, so it's readily available and available in the dimension that we need it to exactly match the existing. So we need to do excavation in this area to create a new floor slab and support the additional retaining. So some more detailed drawings showing the enclosure, the steel framing of this. This is the exact door that's here, relocated to this southern location, when the historic window in this location relocated not historically have that stair. It was a light well that had no access. I just wanted to give you a glimpse of what the exhibit will be like. Part of that exhibit will be inside the vestibule itself. So on the interior of that vestibule, we'll continue the black metal and riveted button theme that's on the exterior. It's part of a themed exhibit which will focus a bit on prohibition, if you will. And you'll be able to enter the exhibit from inside the museum, but also from the exterior. I wanted to note, and I'm not so sure if it's clear in the package, that the basement windows, the majority of the basement windows, like a number of upper floor windows, would have exhibits that span across the windows. So we would either retain the existing Mecco shades or install new Mecco shades. There's a plywood panel on the inside of the building here. At this shade fabric is hung in the window, so it has the appearance of being a shade that you could lift up, but the exhibits actually span over the interior windows. So more of that same sort of approach will be done at the basement level. The windows are not generally visible, but I wanted you to know that several of them are going to be, or the majority of them are going to be covered over. The doors into the vestibule will have vents, and this is the north and south elevation. The roof would be raked at a 1/4 inch per foot so that water sheds off, but the roof is a simple black metal plate. It'll look like a little bit of a bunker, if you will. It has no detailing. I also wanted to note that one of the other exterior changes is that the heating and ventilating system for the basement area, which had its own condenser and an air handler, will move to the roof. It needs substantially more heating and ventilating when that becomes an exhibit space. So we propose to put some standing units on the roof. They won't be visible from the street, but I just wanted you to know they're about 5 foot 6 inches in height, which is shown here. The parapet at the roof is about 5 feet, and they would be set in approximately this location, some distance from the parapet, so they wouldn't be visible from the street. So that concludes my presentation. We're all here and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions, comments?
So this basement is going to be the speakeasy still that you mentioned, or are we not doing
I'm
that
here to talk about
conversation?
how the interior is being used.
Okay.
Jonathan.
So it absolutely is intended to have a prohibition theme.
Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, speakeasy concept that is part of the exhibit concept, but it's not exclusively that.
Okay.
Downstairs.
All right. And what happened with the deck?
Well, I think that was really just a combination of complexity with respect to maintaining the historic integrity of the building, also what would be required to install it, and frankly, cost.
Okay. Okay.
Is it reversible?
Yes. Certainly, we're removing a beam, but somebody could come back in and put a false beam in if that was critically important. The retaining wall will be finished as the existing retaining wall in a simple sacked concrete finish, I believe, consistent with the other portions of the retaining wall. So if the vestibule was removed in the future, they're all separate walls. So the vestibule will literally have 4 walls. The wall directly against the building will be layered on top of the removed and some new limestone. So it could all be easily reversed. One of the details that's in the package is that there'll be a flashing detail at the head of that roof, where a little shed roof meets the building just under the Taurus molding in the terracotta. But again, that's something that will be installed in a joint that could be removed in the future. And joint repointed.
And the whole purpose of this is to get stairway outside access into the Prohibition era display space.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
It'll be part.
No, I just, so we wanted to tie in thematically to what the exhibits are at that level, but the vestibule was really driven by the practicality of getting people in and out without the outside elements also carrying right into the basement. So from a practical standpoint, if we have different groups in the basement or other floors of the museum, right now everybody has to go in and out through the front lobby, which can get quite congested, is rather narrow. You can't have separate events without having the events cross paths. You can't have certain areas open later than others as effectively as you can when you have a secondary entrance. So having that entrance allows us to program the basement differently during different operating hours, but then do it in a way that people can get in and out comfortably, and we're not trying to keep the outside elements from entering into the space that people are occupying. So that's really what drove this.
Doesn't look to me like it's going to be offensive to the eye from
No.
an architectural point of view, from the historical. So I don't have a problem with that.
I assume we're maintaining handicap access?
Yes, through the standard entrance to the building, which is by a lift up to the first floor level from Stewart Avenue, and then through the elevators on the interior. So this is secondary.
Any questions from the public? Anyone else in the public? So if we're ready, I'll call for all those in favor. Oh, I guess I have to call for a motion first.
I'll move to approve.
Second?
And now all those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hey, congratulations. I saw an article or something with the numbers of visitors and whatever.
Oh,
Congratulations.
yes, congratulations.
Okay.
So we could tell that Jack loved that. You could tell by his expressions, all of that. Okay. Item number 6. HPC 69414, discussion for possible action regarding an application for HPC Centennial Legacy Grant Funds in the amount of $2,750 submitted by the Neon Museum, location 770 Las Vegas Boulevard North, for the purpose of transcribing oral history interviews.
With these funds, the museum will be able to hire a transcriptionist to create transcripts from 19 oral history interviews totaling 22 hours. These interviews will be made available for the public and museum use. The HPC Centennial Legacy grants are restricted to $5,000 maximum. The HPC has $25,000 in the small grant budget currently. The application has been reviewed for compliance with the HPC Centennial Legacy grant, and it has been determined that the proposed activities are considered allowable costs, and staff recommends approval. We have representatives from the museum available to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments? Well, I'd just like to say I think that it's a great idea to do this, and I think the cost meets the project wonderfully.
Remind me, these oral histories were taken.
They span over a few years, but they're all notable signed.
Could you state your name for the record? I'm sorry.
I'm Jennifer Clevin. I'm the Grants and Memberships Coordinator at the Neon Museum.
And I'm Cynthia Bear Warsaw. I'm the Director of Educational Engagement at the Neon Museum. So we have sign designers and fabricators, like Tim was going to
Yeah.
say. And, to make them accessible, we really need to transcribe them, index them, make the digital copies available. That's important.
Okay.
far back do these interviews go? I think the earliest ones we have are from the late seventies.
Coming back.
This is the mystery box that showed up.
There's a.
That is correct.
Okay,
That
okay,
is
okay,
correct.
that's what I was
Yes.
fishing, that's what I was fishing for,
Yeah,
okay,
I got that too.
okay.
And this is a foundation, for our future. We have sign designers we'd like to interview right now, today, before those stories get lost. So we're gonna help us. And the public. We're gonna make them available, we'll develop curriculum, we'll have them searchable, accessible.
Okay. Need a motion?
So any other questions, comments? A motion?
I move to approve the grant.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second. All for?
Aye.
Anybody against? Thank you so much. The motion carries. You're welcome. Yes.
I'm going to let you know how it works. You're welcome.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Item number 7, HPC 69415, discussion for possible action regarding activities related for the promotion of historic preservation and archaeology awareness month, which is May 2017.
So each May, the Commission celebrates HPAM, fancy acronym, by participating in the Eldorado Parade, a reading of the HPAM proclamation by the current mayor, and the Commission also honors citizens, organizations, companies, etc. through the HPAM award program. The award recognition and reading of the proclamation are scheduled for the May 17th, 2017 meeting of the Las Vegas City Council. I want to add also that staff has heard back from the Las Vegas Model T Club, and they are interested in participating again in Eldorado this year for the commissioners to ride in the cars during the parade. And so staff recommends continuing the traditional activities, and as always is seeking recommendations from the commission regarding any additional activities.
Have you had time to think about additional activities? Okay. Now, when do we put forward names?
For the award?
Yes.
Next item.
Oh, I'm ahead of myself.
No, you're fine.
There you go.
Okay, so are we, so I need a motion for this, the awareness month of May, continue our activities.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anyone in oppose? Thank you so much. Carries. Now, HPC 69416, discussion for possible action regarding activities related to historic preservation and archaeology awareness month, awards for excellence in historic preservation. Same month, May 2017. So, Courtney?
So again, the award recognition and reading of the proclamation are scheduled for the May 17th, 2017 meeting of the Las Vegas City Council. The staff was only able to come up with one recommendation for an awardee, slightly self-serving, I apologize, but we of course are seeking additional recommendations from the commission. The recommendation is for the Dorothy Wright Bricks and Mortar Award to go to the City of Las Vegas for the historic West Side School rehabilitation.
And I have a recommendation for our, which award is it? I think it's preservation, no, it's not, advocacy, maybe Marlene Adrian, who has done all kinds of work locally and statewide about women in Nevada. And she has a website that she has, a wonderful website that documents women in Nevada, but locally as well.
Okay.
Her work is amazing. Is there any place we could nominate Vegas PBS?
Either education or, yeah.
I would like to honor, I would like to put forth Vegas PBS back for education.
Would you be able to provide me with a little bit of, like, just a paragraph?
Yes,
Okay,
for both of those.
okay.
Any other, now that you've had a minute? Any other people, agencies?
I'm just curious on geographic limitation, it has to be something with the city.
It does.
Okay, but can be beyond, it can go beyond the city as well.
If there's some, what we have talked about, what the commission's talked about in the past is that it should be connected in some way to the historical development of the city. But like for instance with Marlene Adrian, you know, her work applies to the city and statewide, and that's fine. I thought of one other career achievement just now. We have not made this announcement yet, but Commissioner Hausch, her term expired in March and she declined to continue on the commission. So perhaps staff would put that forward as a career achievement nomination.
So I
That
didn't.
would be great.
That would be great, yes.
Be some way to honor her time on the commission.
Yes.
Could we consider nominating Helen Mortensen for her work up in Tule Springs?
Helen and that group has received an award in the past. But that doesn't mean we can't do it again. I'm just letting you know.
How long ago? It seemed like there was one not that long ago.
I'll have to check, but I think it was when Margot was here. So it's been a while. Probably 5 or 6 years.
Time flies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like to make a recommendation for, I'm sorry. Wait, who recommended, oh, I'm sorry.
It was,
Thank you.
So we are supposed to take appropriate action. What does that mean? Do we vote or do we now go back and do our due diligence on the people proposed?
We can vote.
Okay?
And that way I can move it forward.
So I'd
So,
like,
I have,
Sure.
on Helen Mortensen then, is Commissioner Hotchkiss going ahead with a nomination on that?
If she was recently recognized, then I could take a pass on it.
Commissioner, I think it's been about 6 years.
Depends on what the board thinks about it.
Would we be recognizing Friends of Tule Springs or POTS?
She also has the Ice Age.
Okay, okay,
Park group as well.
right,
The Ice Age Park is really for, sort of headed,
okay.
gonna be a facility out there, really pushing that, putting a lot of energy into it.
so that would be the advocacy award for Helen?
I think that would be appropriate.
Okay. Education, PBS.
And we can do 2
Okay.
in one. We've been asked to keep it to 5 total,
Okay.
but we can do 2.
Would that,
Through her, we've gotten some exhibits down at the old Fort Visitor Center, some bones and artifacts that have been dug up out there. So it is coming back into town.
so would that include her work and efforts related to the establishment of the National Monument? It's a couple of years since, but
Established, yeah, she's part and parcel of it.
So we have Helen, Mary, Marlene, Vegas PBS. What was the other one?
Historic West Side School.
Okay.
I can read all the categories in the recommendations. Okay. For the Dorothy Wright Bricks and Mortar Award, the recommendation would be for the Historic West Side School, City of Las Vegas. The Preservation Education Award recommendation is for Vegas PBS. The Advocacy Award, there would be 2, one for Marlene Adrian and one for Helen Mortensen. And the Career Achievement Award, it would be for Mary Hausch.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you so much. Good work. Item number 8, HPC 69416, discussion. Oops. Number 9, HPC 69417, discussion of possible action regarding Historic Preservation Commission recognition of diverse populations who have contributed to the history of the city of Las Vegas.
So this item was requested by Commissioner Arnold, and as she is excused today, staff would recommend that we hold this until the next meeting, if that's all right with the commission?
Perfect.
Okay.
We have to do
Do you need a vote
Yep.
for that?
Oh.
Move to obey.
Okay, so we need to move to obey? Okay, move to obey.
Okay,
I'll
second.
second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anyone against? Thank you. We will hold that item for next time. Item number 10, report by the Department of Planning regarding the Historic Preservation Commission and Hoc Committee addressing the Historic Preservation Commission powers of review relating to the demolition of historic properties.
Jack is chair.
Jack,
Oh.
you.
Well, we had another really great meeting again today, so that one, so what we really kind of worked on was the actual logistics of what it is we can do, how we can do it, what timelines would be, what kickoff points would be, and we set all that up, and it's being typed up for an action item for next month's meeting for us, where we'll have our big discussion about it, the limited powers that we do have and how we can put those powers to best use. So, anybody else on the committee want to add to that? I mean, we didn't want to get into the whole discussion today. All right.
The recommendations will be heard by the full commission at the April meeting.
I think that's wonderful. Thank you so much for the committee, for the work of the committee. I think this is great. So I appreciate that. So next month we'll hear more. Number 11, report by the Department of Planning regarding the planning project maps, wards 1, 3, and 5.
Are there any questions from the commission regarding items on the maps?
Is there anything of special interest on here?
Nothing substantially new. There are some that are farther along in the process than before, but I would have pointed out the Mob Museum, but they spoke today. Anything you can think of, Tom? A lot of little stuff going on.
Okay. And so we'll move to item 12, report by Department of Planning regarding historic and archaeological resources in local media. As always, I appreciate these. Sometimes I miss some things, but these are always wonderful for me.
I missed the Williams Costume Company, and I thought that was just
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah.
It was something I didn't know about.
That's cool.
Mhm.
And my patio made it into our packet today.
Number 13, report by the Department of Planning regarding project update list.
So as I mentioned before, there was a little bit of a typo about the Beverly Green Historic District going to the National Register. It was actually the Paradise Village Historic District. That's generally bounded by St. Louis, Santa Clara Drive, Sahara Avenue, and Van Patten Place. The Nevada Preservation Foundation is working with SHPO on a National Register Historic Preservation nomination for that. I don't have a timeline for that, but as soon as I get some more information, I'll report that to you.
Thank you, Courtney.
You're welcome.
Any comments? Yes, please.
I just have a question.
Sure.
For several years now, we've had the Victory Hotel as our last site.
Yeah.
There. Has anything changed there, or is it just?
No, nothing has changed. I haven't heard anything. Nothing substantial. Just, occasionally I'll get a question from someone about something they could do with the property, but nothing's been submitted formally.
Did you have?
No, I was just, no, I really didn't have any suggestions. I think Logan Simpson had done rehab analysis, over 3 years ago, and I just was curious.
All right.
I hate the day when I see it.
I know, me too. Yes.
Color purple is hard on the eye.
Yeah.
It's still there.
The Springs Preserve did a pretty accurate replica at in their town. I forget the name of the town. Boomtown, 1905. And the depot.
So do I have to go and see it.
It's really interesting. The whole street is interesting. Yeah.
Everybody that I know, they're just raving about it.
You can't. Excuse me. They don't go. They don't go back as far as the original building. Excuse me. But there's interpretation inside the buildings, and some of the buildings they're going to use for events too. So it's pretty interesting. And of course, the actual cottages are on the west side of the street.
Courtney, are we still on item 13?
Yes, well, sort of, yes.
Yes, we have not moved on.
So, Madam Chair, my apologies when Courtney asked me the question if there's anything on the project maps. There might be something. I don't know if it's on the map. I put on my glasses and I can't see. Even if I have my glasses, I still might not be able to see. There might be something worth bringing up the hearing on the Thunderbird project. The site on is that on the map? That went through. That was approved by Planning Commission at the last Planning Commission hearing, and there was a fairly significant turnout of the John S. Park neighborhood. Just probably worth putting on everybody's radar. There's a meeting coming up with the neighborhood next week. I forget the date. And I forget if that project is going to council. But there was some question about the John S. Park plan and its, I guess, veracity as a regulatory document. In that document, in the John S. Park plan, there are recommendations on height limits and other things, but those were recommendations to be considered for incorporation into the zoning code, which never happened. And so the analysis of that project and the determination based on the existing zoning code and the master plan, the recommendation was approval because it met the downtown Centennial Plan governs that area in terms of development regulations and Title 19 together. John S. Park Plan is a guiding document that's intended to guide decisions. It was fully recognized in the staff report, and staff continues to see that as an important document. However, the regulatory documents that govern development on those parcels is the Downtown Centennial Plan and Title 19. And so there was a fairly robust discussion about that at the Planning Commission hearing, and there will be more discussion about that at the John S. Park meeting coming up. Again, I think it's next Thursday.
I don't know what date it is. So what is the height on the proposed building?
15 stories.
You know how many feet that is?
Yeah, I don't off the top of my head.
150 each.
Yeah.
And a big pack.
The Johns Park neighborhood plan recommendation is 60 feet with 5 stories. My personal opinion, it's just me, is that any house that's backyard backs up to a 15-story building seems a little insane if it was in Sutherland or anywhere else. So to be backing up to a historic district seems a little too much. But yeah, the limit is 5 stories or 60 feet on the Johns Park plan. It is just a recommendation. And yeah, and that's the struggle that we always have is that, here we have an established historic neighborhood backing up to Las Vegas Boulevard, one of the busiest streets in the world.
So can we have the meeting date sent to us as soon as you
Sure.
know?
And the thing about that is the whole block of like Oakey to Charleston of Las Vegas Boulevard could be a historic district in itself. I mean, there are just so many original 50s and 60s buildings still left there. And it could be a really, really, really cool district, the same way Fremont East Entertainment District is. And the big problem is that, it's a big, 5-6 acre parcel sitting there on Las Vegas, and there's room to do this, and if they do it, it's just gonna set the height, and now we're gonna have lots of demolition of lots of really cool structures that are gonna become high rises one day, and that's gonna just be a whole corridor of that type of property, as opposed to it, right on the scenic byway. It's part of the scenic byway, it shouldn't happen, and I don't know there's any way to stop it, but it shouldn't happen.
So thank you. I thought that was important because I'm not sure that everybody was aware that that
Yeah,
conversation
thank you
is
so
happening,
much.
and
Yep.
I don't recall if I think it's going to council, but I don't recall for sure. But we can Courtney can email it out.
Good. So we will stay abreast of what's happening.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for the info, Tom.
Yes. Agenda item 14, discussion regarding topics for future agenda items by the commission. Comments made during this portion of the agenda by individual members shall refer solely to proposals for future agenda items, and any discussion shall be limited to whether or not such proposed items are within the purview of the commission and/or whether such proposed items shall be placed on a future agenda. No discussion regarding the substance of any such proposed topic shall occur, and no action shall be taken. So any items, we know that we have one that we are carrying over. Other than that, is there anything?
We don't have to do anything to change to put that committee's recommendations for a vote next month, right? That's already automatic carry forward.
It's in my internal plan, but yes, we can mention that for sure.
Okay.
Nick, do we have an update on what Tom just talked about, if there's one?
Madam Vice Chair, could we have an update on Las Vegas High School?
So Courtney, do you have all of that?
Yep.
Any other items? Good. And now number 15, citizens participation. Do I have to do this one since all of our public left? I'll read it anyway. Citizens participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the board. No subject may be acted upon by the board unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. This is the same thing I read at the beginning. Okay, so we have no public? Okay, good. Yes.
I just had a question.
Okay, good.
When is the El Dorado parade?
Oh, May. When is the El Dorado parade? This is a public?
I'm gonna look at the calendar real quick.
It's always around my birthday.
I think it's the 16th,
Third week of May.
May 13th.
So Saturday, May 13th.
That's way off.
And I don't know who's been, if you want to ride in the parade, you probably should look at your calendars for that.
Just email me.
Email
The
Courtney.
T-Bird guys, or the Model T guys, they don't really usually know how many cars they're gonna get until basically the day of the parade. So it's sort of at your risk, although we've had really good turnout from them. Last time, we usually have way more cars than we need, so. But there's always that slight chance that if you show up a little bit late and the cars are full, you'll be riding on a running board.
What was the date?
May 13th, yeah.
Saturday. And it's always good just to watch the rest of the parade.
Yeah.
So if there's nothing else, we adjourn.